Hola, I'm back from Portugal. If you haven't seen those vlogs, go back. They're just the most recent ones before this. And I've come back to basically spring weather in Toronto, so that's a win. So I'm really suffering. It is only like maybe 10:30 as I record this. I've been up for so many hours. I get up at 4:30 in the morning now because I'm not over the reverse jet lag yet. If you're new here, hi, my name is Helen. I am a middle-aged Canadian work from home mom who was recently on vacation in Portugal. I'm just after going to the gym. You'll see I'm in my gym gear here. And on the way home from the gym, I picked up a couple things. I was thrifting, so I will show them to you. I don't know that I've ever recorded at this angle, so hopefully this is picking up okay. I got this calico, I think that's what this print is called, linen, 100% linen shirt from Salvation Army, and I paid only $3.99 for it, so that was a win. And then the other thing that I picked up was just this chambray shirt, another just loose woman's shirt from the company Ardennes, which I think is a Canadian, very fast fashion, almost like Claire's. They do a lot of like accessories place, and it's cotton. And it was $5.99. So I don't know how they're doing their pricing, but you would think that the 100% linen Gap shirt would be more expensive than the fast fashion denim shirt that probably only cost $5.99 there. Anyway, I don't know how their pricing works, but I picked these two up in preparation for warmer weather. Okay, so just two quick clips. I'm going to show you what these look like on. I have to unplug from the mic. I'm back using my wired mic, people. Don't ask. The one in Portugal that I was using, the HELENAV mic, cost me a fortune. It was expensive and it was good, but then it like distorted a lot of my audio. Anyway, you don't care about that. Suffice it to say, I had to return it. I lost a lot of footage, unfortunately, because of the poor quality of the mic. And I tried everything to fix it and like do a voiceover, and it just wasn't working for me. So that was frustrating. So I have to unplug now, and I'm going to show you these shirts. So let's give these a quick try on. I'm in my workout leggings because, as I said, I just got back from the gym. This was the $3.99 wonderful linen shirt, originally from Gap. I just love a loose shirt like this for when the weather heats up, or as a layering piece even now, even though it's 100% linen. I think this is going to be nice over like a white outfit, like a white skirt and a white top. This is great just to keep the air conditioner chill off of you. Or, you can button it up and stick it inside jeans. This is going to be an ideal spring summer piece. And then this is the denim-ish chambray shirt. It's pretty light, fits pretty well, and I really like thrifting shirts that are collared. First of all, I love wearing a collared shirt lately. That's kind of in my jam. But not only that, I appreciate that the thrifted styles from a few years ago are a bit more slim fitting, which I like because right now it's everything that's boxy out in the stores. Boxy shapes just make me look more bossy. $10 grand total for two great layering pieces for spring/summer. Salvation Army for the win. As I'm chatting, I'm seeing an alarming layer of dust. So much dust settled in my house in the 2 weeks that I was gone. So I got my work cut out for me today, people. I have been back a few days, but today's the first day I feel kind of like somewhat back to normal. I had a really great time. If you're ever thinking about Portugal, just do it. You're going to like it. Back in my civilian clothes, back in my dining room, there's always something to see here behind me. So I hope that's not too distracting. That's a bag full of my embroidery supplies, and that's just a leftover glass from our lunch. Let me show you some of the cute bits and bobs that I got from Portugal. I didn't buy any clothes, so if you're here for like a big clothing haul from Europe, that didn't happen. I mean, a lot of the clothes are the same ones we get here anyway. There's Mango, there's Zara. There's some cute shops, but I just didn't find anything right for me. But anyhow, let's see what I got. So in Lisbon, I picked up a whole bunch of these little fridge magnets. I got this one for one of my friends. It's just one of the classic blue Portuguese tiles, but of streetcar trams, and it's actual tile with just magnetic strip. I tested them, they do work. They're not the strongest magnets, but you know what, they're cute. They stick on their own, but you're not gonna be able to put like 5 pieces of paper underneath them to stick it to the fridge. Let me show you some of the others. So here's one that I'm gonna give to a friend of mine, and here's one I'm gonna give to another friend of mine. So I don't know, I just found them to be quite adorable. Picked up a few. These were not much each, inexpensive little souvenirs. This is maybe a strange souvenir, but I bought myself a stainless steel pot because I like housewares, I like dishware, and each place that I stayed in, each of the Airbnbs I stayed in had this pot. So I think that maybe this is like a staple in Portuguese households. It is technically a milk pot. You warm up milk for coffees, but it's just like the right size to do one portion of like pasta, or maybe you're just making mashed potatoes for like one person. So just for those smaller things, and also for sauce. It's really good for sauce because it's high. If you've made tomato sauce, you'll know that it can splatter quite a bit. So if you need to make like this much sauce, it's got these deep sides, which can help from Splatter. And frankly, it's just cute. I like that it's got this handle instead of the long handle that we're used to. I think I paid 21 euros for this, which is not super inexpensive, but you know, I'm happy to pay that for a made in Portugal pot that will forever remind me of my time there. This you saw if you saw to the end of my last long vlog, and that is this piece of pottery dishware, I guess you would call it. It's technically meant to hold soap, but I couldn't resist. It's basically a sardine tin. I just thought it was so sweet when I saw them. They had them in different colors, but I'm always drawn to pink. It's like a piece of pottery. It says Portugal on it, and it's just meant to evoke the famous sardine tins that they are known for. Like, there are many shops there that sell just sardines in tins. So cute. I think I'm going to use this for art supplies. This sweet thing was just an embellishment. I was given, you know, just basically a cute little tie to add to your bag to make it look extra cute. Just like a recycled flower. And you know me, I love drawing and painting flowers. So I kept this, even though I think it's just meant to be something you toss away like wrapping paper. I couldn't bear to do it, so I'm keeping that. All right, the last thing here that you haven't seen yet, even on the Portugal vlog, well, I'll show you. Came in this nice little bag. It's the kind of thing you could get anywhere. There's nothing particularly special about it. I just saw it and I wanted it. You know how it works. So it's just like a little tin, and you could put like jewelry in it, or what I think I'm gonna do is put like sea salt in it and just use it in the kitchen because it's got the nice stainless steel on the bottom, the nice cork top. And what it comes with are just these lovely lavender soaps, and they had all different scents, but I'm just a real sucker for lavender, and there's like, I think two deep soaps in here. So I will use the soap as well. What I like to do with soap is, because I am at heart an old lady, put them in my sock drawer and just let the scent go through my clothing. And then when I feel like that's kind of spent itself, I'll just transfer it to the bathroom and use it as a hand soap. So I thought that was quite sweet as well. To be honest, it was honestly just more about the nice packaging, you know. And that was €9.90, I think. And the sardine tin was, you know, I paid a good amount for this. It is made in Portugal, €19.90, so almost 20 euros for this. Well worth it for me. These were just like my favorite kind of souvenirs, houseware type stuff. What an absolutely glorious day. Please ignore the snow that's around. It actually feels very spring-like, and it's all melting around me. We haven't been down this way in a few years on this channel, so we're gonna take a nice sunny walk. Actually, to break out the very dark glasses. One of my top tips is making sure that if you have multiple pairs of glasses, get them in different levels of darkness, because these are too dark when it's not extremely sunny. But when it's very sunny like this, and there's like white, and the sun is bouncing off the white into your eyes, you need something darker. But when I was in Portugal, for example, although that was bright as well, I had a more of a medium tint. And those are the two I like to have. I like to have a dark pair of sunglasses and a medium tint. Did I ever tell you the story of getting these? Just very quickly, we bought a car off somebody and she forgot them. They're Fendi. She forgot them in a secret compartment, and we ourselves didn't find it for about another year. So that was kind of funny. Now, we typically wouldn't have these fantastically ugly piles of brown snow at this time of year, but if you saw in my vlog called February Has Been Difficult, you'll know that we got so much snow, like a record amount of snow in a very short amount of time, and it still hasn't melted off because you need a lot of hot weather, basically, or warm weather, I should say, to melt this all down, just because that was a lot. It was a lot of snow to melt through, so we're not there yet, but we probably will be. Maybe even tomorrow it may be gone if this balmy weather keeps up. This quilted coat is one of my MVPs. Love it. And then, you know, if you want to be a real fancy lady, you need to have a silk scarf made of actual silk. This one is one that my mother-in-law gifted to me, and this is keeping my neck warm because it's warm, but it's not, you know, it's not that warm. I think we're at about 10 degrees Celsius. So let's have a wee look around this neighborhood, which is Brackendale Hill, and it's one of these hidden stealth wealth neighborhoods that nobody would know about. I don't think you would know about this neighborhood at all unless you lived around here, but the houses are quite nice. You've got this mix of sort of old looking houses, of course, you know, Edwardian, even craftsmen, I would say, mixed in with some renovations that are all tastefully done. I really like that. Like, look how they're doing this house. It's very contextually appropriate for the neighborhood, so we love to see that. On the other side of the street here, more like arts and crafts style homes. This is a really nice area. You can tell because the size of the street is so wide. That's a dead giveaway that this is a more upscale neighborhood. My husband loves this house here in the red. If you're lucky enough to live here, you have this beautiful park that has this wonderful overlook into the entire rest of the city. There's just a real sense of spaciousness around here that is, not typical of the area I'm in. Our houses are much closer together, but I do love walking here. This is just a few minutes away from my house. This is Hillcrest Park that is just very dead right now, obviously being a weekday at midday, full of snow. Those are tennis courts that are typically super busy, and it's just fabulously lively here most of the year. My friends, I don't have my wellies on, so I cannot trudge through all this melty snow, ice, slushy stuff, but I want to see if I can just give you a glance here. If I zoom in, I don't know if you can see, but there's like high rises because we're up on a sort of, we're up on a hill here. And then there's a big, huge hill going down. And then what you're seeing there is all the big buildings and high rises of downtown. Trees are still bare. For all intents and purposes, it still looks like winter, but I can feel that the spring is here, not least this extreme sun that's been blasting me, and I've been loving it. I'm so happy to come back to sunshine. And I know this is all going to be melted soon. And then there'll be the first flowers of spring, and I'm just looking forward to the season so much. The spring melt off is real. It's just like trickling everywhere I listen. I can hear it just going down into this gutter here like crazy. So this is nice. I like this sound. Okay, pardon the construction noise around me, but I didn't want to leave this neighborhood without showing you my favorite house. My favorite one in all this street is this one, which is a renovated house, but again, has really taken pains to keep the look of the other houses in the neighborhood, but I'm loving this white tile on it and the huge windows. Let's see if we can get a slightly better look. I don't really love creeping in front of people's houses like this, but you know what? Anything for you guys. Isn't it lovely? I like this house a lot. Where it kind of lets things down though, I mean, not least the Tesla, but the driveway is not as nice. I feel like they could have paved that or done some pavement stones or whatever, that could have looked a bit better, but who am I to judge? Otherwise, the house is lovely. If my kid was still young, we would have literally been here an hour looking at this digger, but those days are over. This little house looks like something out of like a fairy tale, like a Beatrix Potter book or something like that. It's not my style, but it is cute in its own way. Little free library. I always like having a peek in here. Math Quest, boo. Candace Bushnell, Lipstick Jungle, I've read that book. And just a little random selection of books. This is a new little shop. It used to be a really famous corner convenience store for the entire neighborhood, but now it looks like a sweet little housewares place. I think these are called Adirondack chairs in the US, but we call them Muskoka chairs. Well, that concludes the neighborhood tour. I'm just gonna head back now, and I have a lot of stuff to get done, a lot of admin type work where I've got to sit at my desk, unfortunately, for a couple hours. That was an endless afternoon of very boring things that I had to get done. And it's Monday, so that means it's my fiber arts social group, so that's where I'm heading. It's actually held at a local library, and it's free, which is amazing. But I have a concern that because it's March break and all the kids are off school, they canceled it, but we'll see. Luckily, my walk to the library was not in vain. The group was alive and kicking, and if you've ever wondered what a bitch and stitch group does together, this is what we do. We stitch and we cackle like a coven of witches. Had a really fun time. And as I've mentioned before, what I love about this particular group, you can talk a lot, you can talk a little. Everybody's welcome to just come and chill, and you always have your craft in front of you, so it's never awkward. Not that I find it awkward, because I love these kind of situations where there's like a lot of women in a room together. It reminds me of all the decades of my working life where I worked in all women environments. This is like every team meeting we ever had. Well, good morning. I'm trying to recreate the amazing air dry situation I had in Lisbon, and I have not really had full success. The water there is so nice. It was so nice to my hair, which is unusual. Usually I go away and my hair looks worse than ever. Whatever your hair is sensitive to, like my hair is sensitive to shampoo. Only some shampoos make my hair look nice and the rest of them really kind of dry me out. I just bring my favorite shampoo. Conditioners, it doesn't matter that much, so I don't bother with that. Anyway, something that's been kind of weighing on me, and I've been debating on whether to mention it. I didn't talk about it at all in my Portugal vlogs. It just was not the time, space, or anything I think anybody wanted to hear. But there's a lot going on right now between Canada and the US, right? And I've been very, very quiet on this whole matter. Not because I don't have opinions, I definitely do, but The way I feel about it, it's a bit complicated. Here's my takeaway. One is that if I sort of stake an opinion in a month, in a year, that's going to be dated. The situation is not going to be the same anymore. So I don't want to date my content like that. Also, I don't really feel that that's what you're here for. I don't really think it adds that much to the ambiance that I'm trying to create here. I have my own acts of resistance against what's going on in the world, and that is that I make art, and that is my outlet for the things I'm feeling and how I want to feel and how I want to bring peace into my life. That's just core to who I am. The other thing is there's just a lot of like outrage commentary, and I could get a lot of views making a whole video about what I think is a Canadian about this whole situation, but I prefer to let my actions speak for myself. My mother-in-law, who I've mentioned now twice in this vlog, has some real awesome stinging burns that she doles out, and one of them is that empty vessels make the most noise. Sit on that one for a bit, right? Empty vessels make the most noise, so I'm trying not to be that person. And I think that we all just need a break from the news cycle, and that is what I'm trying to provide here. And certainly when I rewatch my own vlogs, I don't want them to feel dated or political or outraged or anything like that. I want them to feel peaceful. So hopefully those are the vibes that I'm providing. Right, so today's a work day. I'm not sure how much I'm going to vlog, but I did want to just hop on and address this situation because right now it's like anything everybody's thinking about. You know, even when I'm at the gym, it's like constantly on the TV and the news, and it's what people are chatting about out and about. At my fiber arts social group yesterday, there was a little bit of that talk as well. So I'm surrounded by it, but I'm trying to be an oasis of calm. I have Pilates today. Got a lot of fun stuff going on this week, and I am taking you with me. So definitely stay tuned for that. Like, and if you're not subscribed, why not? Consider subscribing. Okay, we'll see you in a bit. Another beautifully sunny spring-like day. What a difference nice weather makes to my mood. You kind of forget about it, although kind of not really, because I just was in Portugal and I felt so re-energized by the sun, and I'm feeling it again. So nice out. So when I go to Pilates, I have to wear my hair up like this. Otherwise, the reformer machine takes a chunk out of my hair. I don't know if this is a wavy hair thing, but my hair wraps around certain things. Like also if I'm on a streetcar here in Toronto, something about the seats, they have like rivets in them that always catch in my hair. Now see, just like I said, the snow has melted, and that's because it's been steadily warm for 24 hours now. So a lot of it just melted away. There's a whole bunch of these little street cleaners passing now too, which is much needed. Although that's the second little vacuum truck I've seen go by and hasn't actually vacuumed anything up, so I'm not sure what's up with that. This is Bathurst Street, which I detest. I do not like this street. It's so busy and loud. Well, what it does have going for it is my reformer Pilates studio, which I can walk to, because God knows if I had to take the car, I would literally never go. Here we are. Finished up work for the day after coming home from Pilates, and I've had a little bit of time, just 15 minutes, to sit down and paint some citrus, which I've been obsessed with. My new obsession is oranges and lemons. We'll see how long this lasts. This is heavily influenced by my time in the Algarve, where it seems like everywhere you turn there was a beautiful orange tree. Like here's one that I got in the mountain town of Montchique, and then here's another I painted when I was in Lagos. This wasn't planned, but I decided it was far too sunny to just sit inside my dark house for the rest of the afternoon. So I popped out to a local cafe called The Company We Keep and ordered a decaf macchiato, and just found the sunniest spot in the whole cafe and just took my e-reader with me and had a few quiet moments to myself. Good morning. I didn't want to give you a jump scare by cutting to a clip of me wearing my CurrentBody mask. I've already used this morning, so I wanted to update you just on my 2 CurrentBody products that I've mentioned in past vlogs. So it's now 6 months of using this LED mask. My verdict on it hasn't really changed from what you've heard me say here before, which is that I really noticed when I was in Portugal that my skin was flaking not using it. So it's definitely helped with basically curing my winter dry skin.
I haven't had any skin flakes, and then as soon as I came back, I really noticed I had a pretty heavy layer of skin flakes, so it's definitely helping to turn over that skin without me needing to exfoliate. So that's something completely new, and it helped a lot with my borderline seasonal affective disorder winter blues situation. I really only started to feel terrible, you know, like very low energy after we had that huge snowfall, and I just felt, I think, overwhelmed, which I think is probably pretty normal. So it helped me for the first year that I can remember, you know, since my 20s, just feel much more energized. So those are the two benefits that I've seen. I haven't really seen any substantial changes in my face, but using it just for those two things alone, to me, is worth it. I tend to do other things when I've got it on, like make coffee and check my email, stuff like that. Sometimes even lie down and read my book. The other device that I have that I have not talked about, but I have mentioned, was the laser removal, hair removal device. So I started using it, then unexpectedly took a last minute trip to Portugal, which you guys know about. And I've been using it just on one armpit and just on one leg, and haven't seen any difference yet at all. So I just used it for a solid week and I think a couple days. So I'm back using it now. So it's still to be determined whether this is something I'm going to recommend or not. And it was a little bit finicky to learn how to use. If you've used an at-home laser hair removal device, please let me know if you've had any success with it. So this is CurrentBody as well, along with the mask. So I have a really good discount code. I'll put that down in the links below if these are something you're interested. Even if you don't use my code, don't pay full price. There's always some code kicking around somewhere. And I'll link up these two devices. This is surprisingly expensive, so go have a look at those. I think this is a stay-at-home day. We'll see. I certainly don't have any other plans really other than just sorting out my taxes. Yeah, I've got a lot of receipts I've got to add up from last year. Our tax season is a little later than in the US, but I still want to get on top of it and at least get the receipts all totaled up and put away. Okay, you'll have to tell me if this is relatable or if it's just me. I've had to go in the other room and get my husband's keyboard because he's got the number pad, and one thing I've discovered in doing taxes is when you're entering a ton of receipts, this number pad makes it go, especially if you know how to type, which I do, this number pad makes it go about 3 times faster, but I cannot stand the sensation of touching someone else's residual oils on their keyboard, even though it's my beloved husband. I'm gonna have to wipe it off with this Clorox wipes, and I don't normally have these in the house, but I had them for the trip because, well, I mean, you've heard me talk about residual oils, so I cannot stand any feeling of residual oils, which is inevitable, I feel like, on the little desks that you unpop, that you unclip on the airplane. So, and also just, you know, because those only get a cursory wipe down, it is nice to give these all on the plane and this keyboard itself a nice wipe down, and then I have to look at it. I have to look at it to see how dirty it was. Okay, not too bad. I'm gonna give my husband an 8 out of 10. Part of the entire reason that I'm like this is because for so many years, I was always transitory at desks as an on-call editor, which meant swapping desks a lot. And this is now a normal thing because they use a lot of hoteling situations. Like, people don't have dedicated desks in the workforce anymore just because of the post-COVID situation. But even before that, I was always switching desks and inevitably faced with a dirty keyboard, which I can't stand. That I would clean off, and I would clean off the phone because that's the other thing I cannot touch if it feels grimy. I can't do it. Same with the keyboard buttons. I can't look at them if they have grime on them. So I would always travel to work with one of these like packages of wipes with me. Okay, no more excuses, no more reason to procrastinate. I gotta sit down and knock out these receipts. Some people would pay a bookkeeper to do this because I actually have a couple of businesses that I've got to keep track of, but I don't roll like that. I don't know if you know this about me, but I am extremely particular about who manages my money. And the only person who manages my money is me. I've managed my money since childhood. I had a bank account when I was maybe 8 or 9 years old, and I've been the only one to manage my money, and I've actually done pretty well for myself. It is worth whatever time you invest in learning how to deal with your own finances. Even when it comes to investments, I mean, obviously this is not a place where I'm gonna give you a financial advice, but I think that that's a pretty good general rule of thumb. If you're a middle-aged woman like I am, you should know what's coming in and what's going out of your household. Not to take this to a dark place, but a lot of people our age get divorced, and I'm not saying that's gonna happen to you. I don't think it will, but it does happen. It's a reality, and a lot of times women don't know what the family income is, don't know what the bills are, but you should have a pretty good idea. My other piece of just very general advice for women is to have your own bank account. You just don't know. Life can be crazy. You need to look after your own money. And that concludes my TED Talk on middle-aged money management. Okay, that is it. I cannot do any more admin and typing for the day. I'm receipted out. I'm gonna make some lunch now for me and Killian. It's actually just leftover pizza that we got. Have you ever had Detroit style pizza? Let me show it to you. It's sort of got similarities in the DNA of Chicago style pizza, I guess being kind of Midwest-ish, but it's done in rectangles instead of the classic round dish, and it's a deep dish style pizza. This is just from the Little Caesars near us, because as much as I cook, I knew ahead of time, meaning yesterday, that I wasn't going to be in the mood to make anything really for lunch. I just wanted to put something quick in the oven. So pizza it is. And I have something else to tell you guys. Let me just get this onto a dish here. I'm going to put it on this metal half sheet pan and warm it up in the oven. The thing I wanted to tell you guys is that one of my videos from the Algarve, the one that's called "We drove to the Algarve at the last minute, this is how it's going," has picked up a lot of traction, like thousands of views in the time that I usually only get hundreds of views. And I'm gonna tell you, let me just pop this in the oven, I'm gonna tell you why that has been a problem for me. Okay, let's just sit here where the lighting is a bit more adequate and let me straighten you guys out a bit. So now that that video is doing quite well, it comes with problems. Now when I make vlogs, typically it's like 300 lower end to like 700 higher end people see these vlogs. My vlogs don't do that well. And part of you is like, oh, it's sad that like no one really wants to watch my vlogs, but that's wrong. That's the wrong way of looking at things, because the thing is, the 300 to 700 people are like this really nice community, and it's like this core group of 300 to 700 people who are nice, and they wanted to see the video and they clicked on it and they kind of maybe have an idea of what they're going to see. That smaller group of people are so nice and supportive, and if they don't like it, I don't really know, because they don't say anything mean, they just maybe move on. I'm not really sure, but I know there's a core group of you guys who I treasure, who enjoy those videos. But now the Portugal video is getting traction with like people who maybe didn't want to see that video necessarily, and that sounds crazy, but you know, it's picking up steam with actual Portuguese people. So if you go back, you'll see you have to use your app if you want to see some of their comments translated into English, because the app, there's like a thing that, there's like a button under the comment that says you can translate it into English, and you can see that, which has been good for me because I can see what people are saying, and mostly it's been nice, but there have been some kind of mean, why don't you go home type comments, even though the video was completely, I think, really kind of a love letter to falling in love with that region of Portugal. But I get it, people are kind of fed up with over-tourism. Now you may not see those, because the very rudest ones I will remove, as simple as that. I look at YouTube here and my channel as like my home, and you know, you're not gonna get away with being rude to me in my own home. It's been kind of a mixed blessing. So, you know, you think you want something to do really well until it does, and then you get the dark side of it, and then you're like, uh-oh, be careful what you wish for. I'm kind of smarting from some of the negative comments, I'm not gonna lie. That is the dark side of certain niches, and I think travel vlogging will get backlash, will get negativity, definitely draw more negativity than the ones where I'm just hanging around my house digging out from a snowstorm. So I don't think I'm cut out to be a travel vlogger, maybe not. I'm not sorry that I made the videos though. They're just such a wonderful, rich souvenir of the time that I spent there, and like a home video, but that's for everybody to see. But I guess that's the downside, everybody can see it, and a lot of people didn't necessarily want to see it, they're just clicking on it out of curiosity and then being mean. But it hasn't been like vicious, like nobody's been swearing or like making personal attacks, but they have been rude. So as I film this one, I have one more video coming out that hasn't been released yet. I know this must be weird to hear, because you're experiencing watching this vlog in real time, but obviously I have to edit it, so real time doesn't line up with, you know, YouTube publishing schedule time. So that one hasn't come out, so I'm kind of like, I'm a little bit nervous about that one, so we'll see how that one goes. I don't know.
Whenever I'm too confident winter is gone, it comes back with a vengeance. This happens to me every year. In March, I put all my winter coats away, and it's like I have to take them back out again. I'm back in my parka. Ugh.
I started this video on such a high, and now I'm just contending with emotions, I guess. And some of that is to be expected. It's just part of returning from vacation, right? You exit the vacation bubble, and then real life hits you again. So I know that it's been affecting me because when I did sit down to paint, I could really only put my mind to loose florals. And if you don't know what loose florals are, it's just a painting technique when you're not being very specific about drawing lines and, painting in the lines, so to speak. It's just sort of an impression of flowers and leaves rather than being realistic or hyper realistic. But like I said earlier, sitting down and doing this really just helps me to process how I'm feeling and just to calm down a bit, basically, and relax. Good morning. It is now Thursday, and what a difference a good night's sleep makes. I'm actually feeling much better. It just goes to show whatever mood you're in, that'll pass, and feelings are temporary. I'm going shopping and I'm going to have a lunch with a friend, so for me that's like an ideal kind of day, probably contributing to my excellent mood. My hot tip for shopping is to wear a white tank top or just some sort of tank top underneath your clothes and have something that's easy to peel off, so that if you want to try on sweaters or shirts, it's easy to do and you don't have to get into a change room, because I live in the big city and it can be hectic in some of these places. So let me show you how I've styled this shirt that you saw me buy at the beginning. It's that linen shirt. I kind of went in a menswear direction, but I have to step away because, as I said, this is a wired mic. So let me step back there and show you. I'm not 100% sure I'll wear this out. I just wanted to try the shirt on just because it's still chilly and I can feel the air or the draft going through this linen shirt as we speak, and that will only be worse when I'm outside. So in the end, I swapped it out for the other thrifted shirt that you saw me buy, and the tails on this are very long, so I'm going to give you a little tip on tucking the tails. There's no way to get them in your pants without them looking messy. You actually have to get them into your underwear, which is super awkward looking, but is actually very effective in keeping the whole shirt held down. So give that a try next time you've got a shirt that's got tails and they're too long. And I still have to wear a scarf, so I opted for this, and it's warmer. I just put on this cotton scarf that I've tied into what I would describe as kind of a bit of a jaunty bow, only because I find this style to be the least choking and the most warm. So with that said, let's head out. All right, we've arrived at my favorite mall ever, which is the Eaton Center. I basically grew up here. Every time I come, there are new shops that weren't here the last time. There's a lot of turnover. There are a lot of better malls, bigger malls, but this is still my favorite one. Just the number of hours I've spent waiting for people at this fountain alone or just hanging out, I can't even tell you. You've got your usual mall staples like the Gap, and on this side a Claire's, but also something new. Like I said, it's always changing around here. A Hollister. I see down there a Winners, which is basically Canada's Marshalls. It's owned by the same company, but they call it Winners here. But we also have Marshalls, but we don't have TJ Maxx. So I guess Winners is our TJ Maxx. So there it is. That's new since I've been here, but that's not actually where I'm heading. I'm meeting my friend, I think at H&M, which is down this way. However, it occurs to me that we didn't actually finalize our plans of where to meet up, so I think this is where we're meeting. I guess we'll find out. All right, there's the H&M. Jess and I found each other, and we've also found lots of clothes to try on. This is what I'm gonna be testing out. I love this vest, but I discovered that there's a lipstick stain, so I may try it, but that one is not coming home with me, but let's give it a go. Okay, jeans and this blouse. I think the blouse is cute, but it's too tight. I'm not ready for this type of jean silhouette, but they are very comfortable. I don't know. By contrast, this vest flares too much at the hip, which is fine. I didn't like it that much anyway. I think this cardigan is okay. Good sleeves for me, good length. The pants are not great. They look like pajamas. I think the thing I liked best was this blouse over here, but this is not my size and they don't have my size. So I think I'll have to order it online if I want to buy it. But that's okay, it's not a waste, because it's always nice to try these on in person before you order online and then inevitably have to return it. I'm just at a downtown bar with Jess. That's a bit of a local institution. It's called The Pilot. I'm in the washroom, which is airplane theme, which is kind of funny, but I saw the sign. I wanted to show it to you guys. How clever is this? I wish we had something like this growing up. Not that I ever was in this situation, but I think in my 20s I would have been more comfortable in some situations if I saw a sign like this. Do you feel unsafe? You can ask for an angel shot, and if you ask for these different types of twists on it, they will take different actions. Escort you to your car, call the police. Okay. Anyway, time for lunch. So Spadina has this. You can try that. Salad, and I'm not noticing it.
friend Jess and I had a really nice lunch together, and so now I'm just out on the mean streets by myself because she carried on to do some work at the library. This is the big Majori display. I've never seen beauty supplies in the window of a department store, so that's interesting. Perfumes. We're now walking through an area called Yorkville, which is very fancy indeed, one of the most upscale neighborhoods. But I'm just heading to the bookstore. We're going to a place called Indigo, which is kind of Canada's version of Barnes & Noble. I always like to have a little look around, see what books are on the go. They also have really cute housewares, which I'm a sucker for, and even like pajamas and stuff like that. They sell a little bit of everything. It's almost a bit more like a department store than a bookstore, which I guess is how they have to make it work for them. There it is, it's Indigo. It's a Canadian chain. Kind of tempted by these e-readers, but mine still works, so I'll be hanging on to it for a while. This is like mine. Blue Sisters, this is a really good book. The displays are always really on point. Ali Hazelwood's Not in Love, do not recommend. I did read that. Great little tote bag. The Reader. There are so many great mugs here, my eyes don't even know where to look. I love these kind that have something inside of them. Those are cute. I'm drawn to this Bergman one. I can relate. I also like their mugs are very, like they hold a lot. And of course the iconic initial mugs, which Indigo is really known for. I like this, H. Ooh. All right, everybody, that was fun. Hope you enjoyed coming along my days with me. Had a few of them in this vlog. If you haven't already, consider liking and subscribing if you're new here. I'm gonna head home now, get ready to enjoy the weekend. We'll see you in the next video.